You're listening to episode 35 of the Wheeler's Dog Podcast. Hey, I'm Eugene B. Sims. Thanks for checking out the podcast. I do appreciate it. And this is the second time I started this podcast. I got into the intro just right about now and was interrupted. My wife got angry at me and her stepson, Sam. Sam was protesting, Black Lives Matter, that stuff. And I have always been one of these people that believes that when it comes to racism, bullying, things that you really can't change, and it takes, a change of heart in people to actually change, I think you're wasting your time. And apparently this has caused some sort of divide or rift between me and Sam, even though Sam and I just talked about it and everything's cool. But, Chigs is a little upset. But, hey, that's cool. I personally, if you want to get out and you protest and you feel that strongly about it, knock yourself out. That's your right. You're totally cool with that. Personally, and this is my personal opinion, when it comes to racism, it comes to bullying, anything like that, you're not changing anyone's minds. People are just going to be dead set in what they believe. And so I think you're just wasting your time. It's a nice feel good, in my opinion, but I think it's a waste of time. He feels otherwise, and that's totally cool, and that's the great thing about America, and I don't understand why she's got upset, but hey, she's within her right to get upset as well. All right, so now, let's start this thing proper. All right, sorry to get all heavy on you. It was just happening just moments ago. But anyway, this past weekend, Chigs and I made a trip to West Virginia, and what I'm talking about, it's a one-day trip. I will read you the flyer sent to me from my mother. It's as she puts it here at the top, Annual Christmas in June Family Reunion. Saturday, June 13th, 11-ish. No AM, no PM, nothing like that, but I know what she means. It goes on to read, I hope we can count on you to be at Mom's. She looks so forward to it. Eugene, James Sims, Linda, that's the mill, Matthew, that's the stepson, and his girlfriend. Punctuation's kind of thrown out the window here. Dessert, 1 package hamburger buns, and 1 package hot dog buns. And package is PKG. If not coming, please call me and let me know. And it's got her home phone number, like I don't know it. Hope to see all of you there, Pat. Now, the annual Christmas in June started some years ago because my grandfather, when he was still alive, he liked having the family together on the Saturday night before Christmas. So whatever Saturday that was on, people would get up there early and people would leave, in the dark. And so he liked to have this family gathering. And, lots of times, as you know, people have work parties, there's functions going on for kids, people's kids. There's all kinds of things going on the holidays, not to mention a day of shopping. Well, for this event, you've got to give up your whole Saturday just before Christmas, the Saturday before Christmas. So, a lot of people didn't like doing it. And the other thing is, like my parents, for example, they like to leave at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning and be there all day. And then they drive home at night in the dark. And as you know, there's a chance, especially in Virginia and West Virginia and the roads that we travel, there's a good chance that you could be hit with deer. Deer just popping out anywhere. Trust me. If you've been on Highway 219 there in Monroe County and Greenbrier County, there's a good possibility that deer would just pop right out. You never know what's going to happen. As a matter of fact, on one of the trips back from one of these events, I, in fact, saw a deer come flying over my parents' truck, my dad's truck in front of me. It went flying over. I thought it was a paper bag. It looked like a paper bag just caught with the wind and just landed in front of me. But then when my front wheel went pa-thump and my back wheel went pa-thump, I knew it wasn't a bag. It turned out it was a deer. Yeah. A car coming towards us hit it, and it went up into the air. My father drove under it, and it landed in front of me, and I ran over it with, my left side tires. So, we sat there and watched a deer die right there on 219. So, that was kind of wild. Now, we did one time, my parents had a Taurus wagon for a time. It was white. And it was me and my ex-brother-in-law, Kevin. He was in the front seat. Tina, my sister, and my mother were in the back seat of this vehicle. And I think young Preston was in there too. And we come around a turn. There's like this little straightaway with a turn coming from, turning left, and then the turn exiting out of the straightaway, turning right. We come around that left-hand turn, and my headlights caught something. No joke. I know nobody believes me, and that's okay. I do have a witness because my brother-in-law Kevin was terrified. Terrified. I believe it was the Mothman. It was, I don't know, it looked like it was about, it's hard to judge when you're in a car sitting down how big things are. Like when you see traffic lights, red lights, that sort of thing. You don't realize those things are like 6 feet tall when you're just sitting there in the intersection. But when you see one on the ground that somebody's working on as you pass by it, then you realize, hey, these things are huge. So it looked like it was about 6 feet tall. It was ashen gray. And I don't really remember the face so much because what caught my attention was I saw the knees bend just a little and then a flap of wings from behind. It was like, whoom, and the guy was out of what I could see. Yeah, it was out of the headlight, the range of the headlights. It was just bending the knees, wing flap, and up in the air because it was standing right there on the yellow line, and it looked at us. I'm hitting the brakes. I'm hitting the brakes because I know about the Mothman. I'm sure you've seen the Mothman Chronicles. Maybe not. It's a Richard Gere movie. And there's been sightings in southern West Virginia, right where I'm from. People talk about the Mothman. Some people call him Red Eyes because he peeks into windows all the time. But I swear I saw something that fit that description, and it just flew out of the way. So I am hitting the brakes because I want to check this out, And my brother-in-law was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, we're going to pull over and take a look. And he's like, no, we're not. He was just yelling. And then, of course, my mother and my sisters in the back seat, they're like, what's going on up there? And then Kevin says that he saw something and it was weird and it spooked the hell out of him. He didn't want anything to do with it. So my mother's telling us just to go on, and, Tina's wanting to stop too, but we did not stop. So, yes, we saw the Mothman. I'm going to say that we did. It fit the description. But anyway, you're leaving there at night from my grandparents' house, and it's not fun driving through the rural areas at night at, 60 miles per hour because, again, of the deer. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, those little jokers that pop out, they're like butterflies when I was like 6 years old. You don't know where those jokers are going to come from. So, anyway, we started having a get-together not only the Saturday before Christmas, and when my grandfather died, they kept a tradition going because my grandmother liked it. Well, we started another tradition. And it was when my grandfather was alive. It was the Christmas in June family reunion. That way, there's not a whole lot going on. It's the second Saturday in June. we all just kind of show up, bring different little items, and then cook out. And there's always too much. I think they threw away like 9 burgers and about 8 hot dogs, but nobody's taken an inventory on that to find out what we actually need. Maybe I should take that upon myself. But my grandmother, I found out this past Saturday, I thought she was 94. She's 90. We've got a few more years to carry on this tradition, and then I'm sure that, and this sounds bad, but I'm sure the thing is going to go to the wayside within a couple of years. Once she dies, I think the rest of the family, under her wing, we're not going to have that anymore. And, it's really kind of sad because I don't really know my mom's side of the family. They're kind of sticks in the mud. They're highly religious. Nothing against them. Nothing against them at all. They're highly religious. None of them really drink. I guess you could consider me like the black sheep of the family on that side because, I'm not a religious guy. I mean, I religiously wake up every morning and get out of bed, but that's about as far as I get. I religiously listen to music, but I'm not a religious person. It just, it doesn't suit me. After 18 years of growing up Baptist church, no, I'd had enough. I'm done. Again, we do this, and my mother words it in such a way. I really like this. If not coming, please call me and let me know. Which, of course, means you've got to put up with me on the other end, and your explanation better be good as hell, little mister. Because I don't want to hear any lame excuses. And, it's pool season here at the big house. Jamie likes to be out in the pool. She works hard all week. And I just recently made a little upgrade for her so she can work a little less harder and be less aggravated. I'll tell you about that a little later. But anyway, so that's my mom's thing. She just kind of wants to guilt you. You know what I mean? Why are you not going? Don't you know she's not going to be here forever? Chigs and I got up, and I think we left our house 7-ish, 7:30. She was like telling me, I'm sorry I'm running late. No offense to her, she's always running late. And it's Saturday. That's her usual sleep-in day. I got no problem with that, but I got her up in enough time. It's not a big deal, We worked through it. It was not a big deal. We picked up something from McDonald's on the way there. It didn't stop anywhere. We took 52 to 74 to 77 over to 460 in Princeton. And then once you get to Rich Creek, Virginia, you hit 219 and go on up. Of course, for my dad, I don't know why you go that way. It's much longer. I said, mileage-wise, but driving it, 17 minutes shorter, Dad. 17 minutes shorter. No, that's not right. I said, Dad, it's Google Maps. If you look, they can map it out for you and give you an estimated time, and they're usually pretty much dead on. And if you use the Google Maps to drive for navigation, they will tell you where there's problems and divert you somewhere else to save time. So, I've gotten to trust them pretty well, and they've never led me astray. No. But yes, more mileage, but 17 minutes shaved off the time to get there. But he's still poo-pooing. The reason why we went Princeton, we wanted to stop by a Kroger in Princeton because Kroger carries all the Greenbrier Valley Brewing beer in the state, according to them. And they showed me a picture in Messenger because I contacted them to see if, there's a pick-away store in Monroe County where we're going to be. Just a few minutes out of the way. And they've been on their beer locator. Well, every time I've gone there, there's no Greenbrier Valley Brewing beer to be had. So I wanted to make sure before I go. And they sent me this picture of this nice display. So I was like, okay, all right, if we got time, we'll stop on the way, pick up some beer, and then, head on, and a dessert, because I got the burger buns and the hot dog buns, but I didn't get the dessert because I didn't want to leave them in a hot car or anything like that, and something happened to the dessert where the dessert isn't that great. We were running a little behind. Not a big deal. We'll catch it on the flip side, as the truckers say. Well, maybe truckers from the 70s. We get into Union, which is in Monroe County, Highway 3, to a place called Jules IGA. Now, Union is the county seat of Monroe County, and basically, if you walk down the streets and you decide that you're going to lob a spitball at somebody, chances are good they're a relative of mine. It's a small county. That's the way you go. I mean, I probably went into the Jules there, and then lo and behold, there's probably relatives in there that I don't even know. Like Devin, who came up and helped out with the register. I don't know. We could be related, maybe on my father's side. But anyway, we stopped there to get some desserts, and we checked their beer case. And they had some craft beers, if you count Goose Island craft beers. There was that. So apparently people in Monroe County are getting some craft beer on from the Jules IGA. So then we picked up a couple of desserts, more than we had to, and we headed on up the mountain to Sarton, which is maybe a 20-minute ride up there just to go 9 miles. But the road, it's like a one-lane road, and it's mountainous. You cross like a mountain to get back into another valley. And so, anyway, I forgot to tell you, at Jules, I'm noticing while we're standing there at the register that over in the produce section, there were these festive blue balloons from the Idaho Potato Institute or Association or whatever they're called. And it's like, nothing says a party like Idaho potatoes. Who decided to make these balloons and hang them from the ceiling? I mean, they were like big balloons, like 2 feet diameter. And they were the Mylar kind. You know what I'm talking about? The heavy duty balloons. I'm not talking about the little thin wispy rubber ones. I'm talking about the serious kind that's last. And they're hanging from the ceiling. I thought that was funny. I was like, yeah, nothing says a party like Idaho potatoes. So we going up the mountain, uneventful. We get to the family reunion, and it's great to see everybody. And again, like I said, if something happens to the grandmother, chances are we'll never gather like that again. They've got their own little family going on with their own kids and grandkids and all that stuff. And it's perfectly acceptable. I get it, because that's the way life is. It continues on. But I did think it was kind of funny that my mother likes to send these little guilt messages, If not coming, please call me and let me know, because my mother can lay on some guilt, let me tell you.
Conversations on the Rocks is the podcast where the guest determines the topic, and it's hosted by me, Kristen Dokas. Download the latest episode from your favorite podcast service, grab your favorite cocktail or other beverage, settle in, and let's get to know each other.
And I brought it up earlier that, Chigs works from home, and also over the weekend, Sunday, I took everything I'm recording this from the game room. I'm finally back in the game room, and I don't know if you heard Sam come in. He came in for a beer just a little while ago. But I took all of her computer stuff downstairs into my office. I cleaned it out. I got a throw rug, a 7 by 5 throw rug to put down. So, it's got a tile floor, so, I don't want my wife's feet to be cold. And, I don't want her rolling around on tile, You know how it is when you got those office chairs on casters. So that's, not cool. You get in those little ruts. You big knock back, and then you get in a rut, and then you got to push it a little bit harder to get out of that rut. That sort of thing. So I even took the table that was in the game room down, set it all up, swept, mopped, did everything to get that thing right. Sam and I, we put in a Cat 6 line to go from the router that's in the dining room area. We dropped, actually Bait came and helped me drill a hole. I started it. He finished it because I didn't have the necessary equipment to do it. He had the drill and he did it, took it over. We got Sam under the house, ran the cable through the drop-down ceiling, through the laundry room area, hooked it up, hooked Jamie's computer up. You know, Chig's got that computer going now. And today, no cussing. Because for some reason, the Wi-Fi gives her hell with that thing. And it's aggravating. I get it. She gets aggravated with it. And so she comes up and she, you know, sometimes she'll just take a break from it, just walk away from it. And she's highly irritated. And so, I don't know. You know how it is. When somebody's aggravated and they're just kind of venting, you still can't help but take it kind of personally. So, I sort of did. And it was like, you know, there's nothing I can do about it. I even called up the cable company and they said, well, you know, you're having this, you know, this, everything checks out fine on my end. I'm looking at it and, you know, everything is fine. But for some reason, it doesn't work with her VPN, all that. And so it was like I thought it was. When he told me you need to get an Ethernet cable and hook her up directly. And that's what we had to do. But it was going to be a problem. Couldn't run that line out to the game room because, gosh, that would take an act of Congress to get that line dropped under the house, drill through brick, and then run it out here somewhere. It would just not be good. So the best thing to do is just take my office, make it her office, drop that stuff under the basement. And it turned out to be a bigger process than I thought. But hey, she's now happy. The only problem she's got like a little bit of lag in her mouse and in her keyboard, you know, the wireless keyboard, the wireless mouse. But at least she's not coming in like, I can't get anything done. Can't get anything done. And I'm happy for her. And you know, as they say, happy wife, happy life. And that's what I'm striving to do with that. So it was nice to have her completely happy today up until this little brouhaha that she thinks is going on between me and Sam and how Sam thinks that protesting does something and I think it doesn't. Now, on certain things, it does. But I don't think you're going to change racist and the minds of bullies. It's just, I think you're spinning your wheels. But hey, that's just me. He feels opposite. That's cool too. But for some reason, this has really gotten under, you know, Chigs's skin. Now with me, yeah, I've given my side. I guess I just didn't explain to her that it's totally cool if he wants to protest. It's his time to waste. I don't care. You know, he thinks he's doing something. Great, fantastic. And who knows? Maybe he is. Maybe people's minds are being changed. I'm trying not to be political on this thing or mention anything like that. Little hot button topics, but I'm sorry. You know, I do think that you're wasting your time with that. But who knows? Maybe there are some people out there that are changed. You know, their minds and hearts are changed when people block highways and interstates. Yeah. Maybe that is shedding a light on things and, you know, really getting people right with God, so to speak, you know. But I don't know. I think it just sort of causes more trouble because, you know, racism's not going to go away. There's still going to be people of color getting hassled by the man, being killed by the man. And, you know, I've even been hassled by the man for having long hair. 4 times I can bring up different instances where I've been unfairly judged just because I had long hair. I got pulled into a traffic stop one time. They didn't have any probable cause. They just asked me to pull over to the side. And then when I pulled out of the side, the guy says, turn off your engine, get out of the vehicle, please. And he's like, can you please open up the trunk? And I'm like, what for? He's like, can you please open the trunk? We're asking for permission to search your vehicle. I said, no. You're going to need a warrant. So yes, we ended up waiting on a warrant for them to search my car and basically clean it out. It was so funny. The first thing they went for was the ashtray. to see if I had any weed in there, any kind of roaches. Well, I don't smoke. I might smoke the occasional cigar, but I don't smoke. And when they popped that thing open in my 73 Gran Torino, that thing was clean as a whistle. There was no ash residue in there at all. And that sort of irritated them. Later on, a few days later, my dad saw the cops because I got their names, told my dad. My dad's like, hey, I heard you guys searched my boy's car the other night. Cleaned it out for him. Because, yeah, they had garbage bags and everything because I was basically living in and out of my car. So I had nothing but garbage in it. So they ended up cleaning it for me. So, yeah, I got out all the cans and all the Bojangles bags and stuff like that. But, you know, I've been unfairly targeted by the man. And it's not going to change anybody's minds. Nobody's going to change anybody's mind how they view people, how they see them. You know what I mean? You see a long hair or something. Yeah, I've been in elevators. Women grab their purses and hold them tighter. Or they even move to the other side of the elevator. Hell, I went to a Chicago concert one night. When I was working at Peaches, we got tickets that somebody never picked up on a Sunday night. Me and this other guy named Shane, we decided, hey, let's go see Chicago. Why not? I've never seen Chicago. And we go, and there's 4 seats between me and the woman down the road. A white lady. I'm a white guy, in case you didn't know. 4 seats in between us, and I sat down. You know, I had long hair. I sat down. That woman picked up her purse and held it the entire night. That's right. She judged me unfairly. I can't change people. That's why I think it's a waste of time. You know, people have got to have the change of heart from inside. They've got to figure it out for themselves. You can't just go, you know, pushing your agenda in the streets, shouting, pumping fists. It doesn't even do anything but just cause more trouble. In my opinion, I think it's counterproductive. But again, Sam can do it. Knock himself out. He believes that change can come that way. That's cool. Believe what you want to believe. I've only got about, 25, 28 more years of experience on you. So, yeah. Well, wait a minute. I think he's 26. So, maybe less than 30. Maybe that wisdom will come to him. If you can call it wisdom, I don't know.
You want extra episodes of the Wheeler's Dog Podcast? Of course you do. No one in their right mind would pass up an opportunity to get a bonus episode every week. Not every once in a while, but one every week. Just go to patreon.com/WheelersDog and get into the dog share for just $4. $4 every month unlocks all the audio. You can even listen with the Patreon app for tablets and smartphones. Patreon.com/WheelersDog to contribute. It's the best gift that you could ever give yourself, really. Maybe.
Well, it's time to wrap things up here on the Wheeler's Dog Podcast. I do appreciate you listening. And thanks to associate producer Tim Beeman for all that he does, and all my patrons. Thank you very much. I hope Damien enjoyed episode 34, which I talked about wrestling. He wanted me to talk about wrestling and expand on that a little bit. I'm talking about professional wrestling. And so I did. And I ended up talking more than I thought I would about professional wrestling. So a part 2 is coming somewhere down the road. But anyway, folks, I do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time here on the Wheeler's Dog Podcast. Ta-ta. Yeah, nothing says a party like Idaho potatoes.